are you today? Here comes another episode of Pandemic Painting with Barbara. Today's painting is going to be a St. Croix rooster. So it looks really complex, doesn't it? It's really not. A flower that we did the other week was so much harder than this one. This one is just going to be a series of layers. And everything is kind of drawn out for you here, but you notice we don't have a tail here, okay? And that's because I really wanted you to have your own tail. Everybody wants their own tail. So, and that's really kind of the attitude of the rooster. So we won't do this until the very end, so you'll have plenty of time to experiment with it and to make things different and personalize it to make it your own. So let's talk about our painting at first, okay? We're laying out our materials. We've got a water bucket, and we've got a napkin underneath it, some paper towels underneath it, ready to go. Let's see, you've got your illustration will be on the back of your board. So pull that out because you want to see where you're going. And you got your video all set up because you're seeing me now. So what we're going to do first is we're going to hit our hot colors. And by doing our hot colors, we're going to go from orange up at the top, orangish yellow here, and then we're going to go down to a deeper orange here. We're going to go deeper to lighter orange here. We're going to go just deep brown in these areas, okay? Red, red, orange. And then our feet are going to be dark and then orange. So actually we're going to build this in little stages. I know you look at it and go, wow, that's a lot. It's really not. This is a deceptively easy one. So then we're going to go with our lighter colors. We'll come back to our lighter colors on top once it's dry. So then we'll be adding in our nice yellows and our deeps. And up here, a little red and white to make like a pinkish color. Then we're going to come down here, do a little bit of grass work down here so that we're ready to go with that. And then we're going to clean out our bucket of water because we're going to have all those orange colors in the bucket. And then we're going to start with our greens. And our greens are going to do the same thing. Dark to light, dark to light, dark in the middle, light on the edge. Okay? And then we'll finish up some greens down here. And then we'll pull in our darks on the top, or our highlight colors on the top of this. We're going to clean our bucket again. This is a 3 clean project for our bucket, okay? Then we're going to do all of our blue on the outside before we do the tail. So don't be drawing in that tail first. That's just going to be drawn right on top or painted right on top. So we're going to have all that blue down. Then we get to play with putting the tail in. And the tail is super easy. It's not hard. Okay, so this is a real fun project. Might take a little while. Because we have to let some drying time happen. But a really fun, very easy project. You're going to be amazed at your results on this one. Let's talk about our colors. Let's put this right up here. Our colors this time, okay? Again, with the hot and the cool colors, we're going to have white to mix with. We're going to have some red, okay? And that's red medium hue. We're going to do some phthalo green blue, okay? That's going to be our super deep color that's coming in the tail here. We're going to have some ochre, which is kind of like a mustardy color. We're going to have orange, yellow, green, okay? And that's going to be our light green. We're going to have sienna and umber with this one, and that's raw umber. With the sienna, those are going to be our browns. We're going to have some cerulean. And that is definitely our sky blue color. And we're going to use that several times throughout our rooster to pull the color of the sky back into things. So we're going to have cad yellow medium. So we've been using lemon a lot in our kits because lemon has a little bit more white in it and it shows up really good. But whenever we use orange, we almost always want to use the cad yellow, because they blend better together. It just looks a little bit more orange in the yellow color. Okay, so let's get started with our painting here. So let's talk brushes. You should have like 3 brushes now. If you just have 2, you can still do this project. Just makes it a little easier to have that extra flat brush. We'll be adding brushes as we go along this series. So you have 2 rounds, one's big, one's little, and the little is for the detail work, and the big one is a round brush that I like to call the go-to brush. That's the one I kind of go to first. And then your flat brush is for putting in all those little lines, but also doing large areas of color quickly. Okay, so they live in your bucket because we're working with acrylic paints, and we want to make sure that we don't have anything dry on us, because that's what acrylic paints are. Solvent is water. So when you're using your brush, remember our little axiom of a little bounce, bounce, lean on the side. And when you lean on the side, you're going to be rolling your brush in your hand just a little bit to make a point on it, okay? So we're leaning it on the side. That gets off the water, but it also creates a point on our brush. All right, let's get started. Real painting here. So I called this St. Croix rooster because roosters are everywhere in St. Croix. We have lots of chickens and wild chickens and hens and roosters hanging about everywhere. They give our towns a lot of character. But they're also a little annoying in the morning because they crow a lot for you. So, and the roosters are very funny to watch. So as usual, we're going to start with a little bit of our lightest color, which is going to be our yellow-orange, and it's going to go in this area. So I'm going to go ahead and pop a little bit of yellow right here, and I'm going to pop a little yellow down here. Okay, so that tells me that I've got these areas to go through right now. I'm going to pop a little yellow down here. These are going to be my yellow-orangey areas. So I'm taking my orange and yellow, and see how I'm mixing? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to lean my brush to the side and do my same happy roll there, okay? It can be pretty orange up at the top. So we're going to start here with our orange. Ooh, a little too orange for me. There we go. But that's okay, because I'm coming in with my yellow next. Remember, I always say, don't try to get it in one time. You're building color on top of color. Okay, and now I'm going for a deeper orange at the base. So I want it to be even a little bit deeper, because the deeper I make it, the more my yellows on the top are going to pop out. So I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit of my brown here. Okay, brown and orange. So it is very deep underneath here. Very deep underneath here. Every time, remember, I'm doing go-to brush here. So here we go. I'm starting to feather. Feather, 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 feather. Feather, feather, feather. Now I'm just picking up orange. Notice I didn't clean my brush in between because I really want the orange and the brown to mix up a bit. So here I go in here, and I'm not too worried about staying in the lines, because honestly that green is pretty strong and will go right on top. I'm really never very concerned with staying in the lines, am I? Nope, because I like everything to look very painterly. Here we go. So we got my dark on the bottom, my very dark under the chin here, and I'm going to clean my brush and go right to the medium is a very orange color. So look what we did so quickly. Yay, that's our base. That's our base for our chicken. Yellow, orange, orange in the middle, darker at the end, dark underneath our, whatever that thing is that hangs underneath his chin, his second neck there. So this time I'm going to start with just plain orange at the bottom. Okay, and these are my long feathers that just kind of hang this area right here. I like this project. It's very satisfying because you get a lot of color all at once. So this time, instead of having a lot of yellow in it for my first layer, I have a lot of brown in this one. Lights and darks are going to come after this is dry. So right now, I'm grabbing a little bit of the brown at the top, the brownish orange here. Oh, a little bit more brown orange. I'm beeping. So a little more brownish orange at the top. There we go. Just kind of let those angles, those little bits kind of fly through there. That's okay. I'm going to switch to my small brush now because I'm moving down to my feet. So I have some orange right here in my feet. And the nail part of the foot is going to be a nice gray color. So we're not going to worry about that quite yet. So just the orange in there. Get your orange in the feet. Just in that part. And on the top part, I'm going to go with a deep umber. Look how dark that is, right? So the deep umber at the top kind of goes straight into the orange there. Don't worry about that too much because when we put the lines in there, you won't see it as much. So this time I'm going the opposite way. I'm going my deep orange or my deep umber first. Umber first, clean my brush. Orange on the bottom. Orange here. Orange here, there we go. Got it. All right, fantastic. Okay, going back to my go-to brush, and any brush that you feel comfortable with. If you feel like you're going like this, just switch to your small brush. It really helps. So now I'm going with the super deep color here. 2 layers. Remember, we're doing 2 layers. So this is our base. Here comes my base in here. So my base is right here. It's full on umber, deep dark color. Now when I'm getting down into these little lines in between, I feel I'm kind of trying too hard. So I'm going to pick up my little brush. When I feel myself doing that, when I'm trying to concentrate too much, I know I need a different tool, okay? Or I'm going slower maybe. Remember to add a little water to it, and that makes the line come out much cleaner. If you're seeing a lot of the grain of the canvas, you probably need a little bit more water. Unless you like that, and that's your style, then go with it. But a little more water helps and make it smooth. Okay, so I got a deep right there. And I'm going down to the bottom. I'm going to add a little sienna and dark just for fun here on this bottom portion. Wow, look how quick we're going, right? So I just wanted it a little bit tanner down here, so I grabbed a little bit of the sienna and a little umber in there. And beautiful. We've got the bottom part of the wing here. This is his wing. And then we have these nice feathers going over the top part of it here. I'm not too worried about this being super flat because I'm putting something on top of it in a little bit. Here we go. So let's scoot on up to the top and let's get our red into his, whatever this is called. I really have to come up with what this is called underneath his beak here. Somebody better text me what this is and say, Barbara, you need to learn something here. Okay, so you'll notice there are 2 pieces. One comes in the front. So I'm doing the front piece first. Now notice I have a little shadow piece right there. I want to show you a little trick for making a deeper red. I'm going to do a trick I learned in school, which was grabbing the complementary color from that. And to do that, I'm going to grab the color that is opposite red on the color wheel. This is big theory time. I'm going to grab a little green. So I'm going to grab my green from my cool plate. See how tiny that little bit of green I'm grabbing is? And I'm going to add that to my red. And look what it does. It just makes it super deep all of a sudden. So that goes behind because darker colors go behind. It almost looks like my brown, doesn't it? I might have made that a little too deep, but I can fix that on my second go around. Here we go. Got my nice deep color in there. That's a trick. That's a good art trick for you. Okay, let's head to the top here with our red. I am in no way trying to make this look round or anything. I'm just putting down flat red. That's kind of the beauty of this project. You get this big effect for just layering colors, and it's a really good teaching project for understanding layers. So putting in my red on my top here. Remember, I paint really quick, so you're probably not going this quick, so remember to just stop the video, take your time. It's not a race. You know, enjoy your project. You don't have to go as fast as me. Okay, so we've got our brown in, our deeper brownish to orange, brown under, or sienna brownish underneath, orange, or light orange to darker orange. And I made that darker orange with a little bit of sienna. I see right here, I need to go ahead and make this area orange. Okay, I'm going around the eye because that's going to be a little bit of yellow right there. So I can make his beady little eyes there. There we go. Beautiful. Okay, so I'm going to pop a tiny, tiny bit of yellow right there. Okay, that's ready to go on top now. Now you can use your small brush, or if you're feeling all confident and love that flat brush, and I do love the flat brush, you can use your flat brush for this. Now this is still a little wet at the top, so let's go over to this one first because this one's a little bit drier. So I'm going to take my yellow and I'm going to add a little white to it. It makes the color a little stronger. Now notice how when I'm using my flat brush, I do like this, and then I can lean it on the side, and I'm going to add some nice strong lights over here. The white turns it into lemon yellow and just kind of makes it pop out good. So we've got these nice whites coming in, white yellows coming in. Don't want to use too much. I don't want to cover up the work I just did. Okay, same thing up here. I'm going to grab some nice white yellows and toss them in at the top up here. Now, if you don't feel like you're getting a deep color, let it dry. Put a second layer on it, okay? It won't change it by just putting more on. What you'll end up doing is losing your lovely orange on the bottom. I want that orange, my base coat, to really show through. So here comes my little highlights here. And at about this point, you should be going, oh my gosh, this is a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. Because I even had some people online like, oh, I don't know if I can do this one. Okay, so as we get closer to the top, to the right side of the canvas here, make them tinier. Let that be dark underneath here. There we go. And I didn't feel like this got light enough up here, so I'm going to give myself a few more nice light colors here. So those are my lights. Okay, tiny brush. We're going to run to the bottom to my little feetsies down here. And this time I'm using a lot of white in my yellow. Okay, and I'm making little circles. Little frowny faces. Little circles that show wrinkles. He's got some wrinkly feet here. His little talons. Okay, and I'm going to run all the way up that foot with those little circles. Circle, circle, circle. There we go. All right. So this should have given my brown enough time to dry here. The way you can tell if paint is dry is kind of look from the side. The shiny bits are the pieces that are still a little wet. You can really tell the difference. But if you're a thick painter, you're going to have to take a break for a minute and let these areas dry so that you can get that layer on top. Once again with my flat brush. Now you can use your small round or you can use your flat brush. Either one's fine. I like my flat brush. I'm a flat brush painter. So I'm going to add some orange, and I'm going to add a little yellow to it so that it comes out a little bit stronger. Okay? So even a little white in there, because I really want this part. I'm doing straight lines, straight, straight, straight. Look how easy it is with that flat brush. Just turn it to the side. Okay, so now I've got my little, I guess, feathers in there. Okay? I'm going to go ahead and switch to my small brush. And now I'm going to make it, these next little lines on top, I'm going to make them a little darker. So a little bit darker, and they're more like, I want even more orange. And if you feel like your orange needs to be deeper, add a little red to it. That's what I just did. Added a little red in there. Oh, went too deep. Too deep. Tiny bit of red on there. There we go. That's what I wanted. So they're a little darker as they come up. Okay, same thing on the bottom, but this time only the darker. And like I said, you might need to go through this twice. Even the just orange looks nice down here. Letting the brown show through, just a layer on top. Okay. Are we ready? We're ready to go up toward this top bit up here. Okay, so I'm going to take my my reddish dark. Remember that dark red we made with a little bit of green in it? You could also make the dark red with a little bit of umber in it or a little bit of sienna in it. These are the choices you can make. This is your painting. So when I say dark, make your dark. You know, you can take my suggestion or leave it. It's all good. So I'm going in the middle. See how I can't really see that? So I know it needs to be a little bit darker. There we go. Every time you're painting, make it obvious. Okay? Make it obvious to the viewer what's going on. Because painting is communication. It's from one person to another person. I'm grabbing a little bit more of that green from over here. Because I like what it does to my red. It makes it super dark right away. There we go. It's almost making brown. That's pretty much what you're doing. So I'm going underneath that big old headpiece he's got going on. Now look how I get a straight line here. What I'm going to do is clean my brush. Okay? And then I'm going to grab just red. While this is still wet, I can pop it like this. And that will get rid of my line. That's one way to go about making blending, okay? So I'm going to use a little bit more of the darker, and I'm going to see how it rounds right here? I'm going to follow that round and make this look like it was the other side of that. Okay, make it obvious. That was pretty subtle. Make it obvious. There we go. Don't assume because you're doing it, people can see it. You know, be your own critic. Look at things and say, can I really see that? Or is it not there? I know I tried to do it, but that doesn't mean it happened. Okay. Can I take 1 second, honey? Get something in my eye. Okay, back on. Okay, so now we're going to take our lights. So I'm taking a little bit of white here and a little bit of red. More white than red. And see how I'm making a pinkish color? This is going to be my highlight color. I'm going to go along the top here. See how I made a line there? Clean your brush. Take the deeper color, the red, and pop along it. Now that was a little too dark, so I'm making it a little lighter. Pop right along it. Okay? And here we go. I'm going to go right here with my light. There's my light. Beautiful. Okay, and maybe a little bit on these little high points here, so they really come into focus. Okay. I'm going to take a little red because I remember this got a little deep for me and just kind of highlight it right there. Perfect. Okay. I'd like to take a little bit of deeper before I finish up. So I'm looking at my darks and my lights. Okay. So here I go with my dark under here. Okay, right underneath this kind of blue thing that's on the side. I want a little bit darker right there. So what I did was I took the umber with a little bit of sienna in it and just put a little line, taking the light color now, a little bit lighter color by adding orange, and just fanning it out a bit. Just want to make sure this looks like it's going back. All right, I'm pretty happy with my oranges at this point. So I feel pretty good with all my oranges. Oh, wait a minute. We've got one more down here. We need some of that sienna with orange. And I'm going to put a little bit more water on that to make it really smoothie. And then here I go. Lines. These are my nice feathers. Notice how it's only a little bit. I don't want to overdo right at this point. I'm just putting on my small brush. I'm just putting on my nice dark highlights. All right. Beautiful. I love it. Down at the feet, another dark highlight on the bottom of the foot. Okay, on the bottom of the foot, a little highlight. And I'm echoing these little lines again. When I say echoing, I'm kind of going into the orange with a little bit of the dark at the base of the foot. Just so it gives it a little weight. A little shadow right down at the bottom. All right, I'm real happy with these. So I'm going to take my flat brush. If you don't have a flat brush, go ahead and use your round for this, okay? Let me tick it up a bit so you can really see it. I'm going to start now. I haven't even used my ochre yet through this whole thing. So let's go ochre. Ochre here with a little bit of yellow in it. And I'm going to make some hay kind of marks here. Hey, 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 hey. So my nice hay marks. I'm not too worried about the talons and stuff because I'm going to put a gray on top of that. Take some yellow with a little white in it over here. There is no right answer with hay. You're just making little marks down here. You can use a little orange, you can use a little brown, you can use a little ochre. So just some nice little diversionary marks down here so that our green isn't just green. I probably wouldn't use red down here or the umber. I would not use those. But other than that, it's fair game. Just have some fun with it. You're echoing the color. When we look, oh, look, I grabbed the red. Don't want to do that. Okay. Through and through and through. Just turning the brush, turning the brush. Flat brush is so much fun to play with. There we go. I'm pretty happy with that now. So we're going to switch now, switch gears. So this is a good time to clean your brush out, your water bucket out. Okay, and we're going to move to our cool colors now. So clean your water bucket out, take a little rest. Dry time is always good. We have our phthalo green, we have our Kelly green, which is pretty much a yellow green. And then we have our cerulean, which is a sky color. And then we have our white. So let's get to work on this. So I'm going to use my flat brush because I love it. But you can use your round for this, okay? But for me, getting up into the angles works so much better if I can turn it sideways. Now I'm going to go dark green down here, and I'm going to go light green right here. Let's start with the wing first. So I'm taking a little bit of my phthalo, a little bit of my light green together. Okay, and I'm going my deep color back here. Okay, and honestly, you could just go flat out phthalo back here. See how I'm kind of notching it out so that I have these little extra wingy looking things going on. Feathery looking things. So I get about there. I'm going to clean my brush off. I'm going to grab some of the yellow green with a little bit of phthalo in it. Look how much lighter it is toward the front. We are building our color so that dark is sitting up against light. So this is a long project because we're working layers, but it's not a hard one. Okay, so I'm going to grab my yellow green right here, and I'm going to go here on the foot. There's his little pants on, and then I'm going to go here around the edge because the dark is going to be in the middle on this part. There you go, and I'm going to go my light. You can go dark to light or light to dark as long as we all end up in the same place. And here's my nice Kelly green over here. I'm singing to myself. There we go, and just a few little blop, blop, blops. And now this is going to be my deep green here. Oh, I love our little cockerel. He's looking good already. Look at him go. I guess probably the hardest part of this is going to be the decisions you make when you do your tail. But I think that's going to be the fun part too, because it really shows your attitude. So what's your attitude today? Are you like a rooster strutting about? Or are you more like a hen, kind of just moving along? So let's all be roosters today and everything all spiky and proud. There we go. All right, and our dark went into the foot part over here. And you know, you might need 2 layers to really make that dark look dark. And it's okay to have little feathery bits in here because that's what we're going to work up to. Now right here, I'm doing a middle part of this right foot because it is behind. It's behind the body. So I really want, and I'm switching brushes here to my round brush, okay? I really want, just kind of soliding it up a bit. And I might add a little bit of green and white right here, just to make sure I really see this crossover. I see this body come in front of that leg. I really want that leg to push behind. So I put a little bit of white and green right along here, and I did a little darker right here. So now that made that leg come forward and that leg go back. Okay, so I'm going to grab a little brush and head over here. And this is just pure green. We're getting ready for tail, guys. We still have to put in our background first, though. So putting a few green feathers back here. And look right here, I have a little bit of green right there, too. So green feathers right here. It's almost like a turquoise color, isn't it? I really love phthalo green. Phthalo green blue. They used to make a phthalo blue green that was to die for, but they just stopped making it in the Soho paints, and I really like the Soho paints. So, not sure why they quit that. So I'm just touching up my dark areas, making sure my darks are really dark. Anywhere I see my little white bits, I'm kind of taking them out. Get out of here, you little white bits. There we go. All right. Light blue. So I'm taking a little bit of my sky color here, and I'm adding a little white to it here. And I'm going right inside of here. It's my sky blue area. Right? Okay, I'm taking a little bit of my gray, which I did not have on my bucket, but we do have gray. So I'm taking my gray and I'm doing the whole beak. Do the whole beak in gray. We'll worry about that beak later. And every little talon in gray. Talon time. And that's how our rooster stays king of the flock. His little back talons there. There's my guy. All right, looking good. Now you can take remember that green-red trick we had before? So grab a little bit of the red, put it in the green, more green this time, okay? And give yourself a little eyeball up here. And just kind of ring it around a bit. There we go. Time for blue. Let's get into our blue, okay? So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our blue for our sky, okay? Notice in the one that I did, if you want it like the one I did, I went dark blue right here. And then as I came over, I added more white, okay? That's not how you have to do it, okay? So it's entirely up to you how you want to make your blue look. So don't feel like you have to do it my way. You know, branch off, go your own way, make it kind of fun for you. Doesn't even have to be blue. I won't get upset at you if you change the coloring. All right, so I'm going a little bit darker blue over here for me. And I'm using my flat brush, but feel free to put in the big areas and then come in with your small brush. That might be the best and easiest way to do this. I've painted a lot, so I have a little bit more control of my flat brush. But if you feel weird about it, just do it the way that's comfortable to you. You're trying to find your own brush stroke. I'm only here to show you some tricks. But the magic is yours. And the magic, I'm just going to tell you sometimes, is pretty much the mistakes that you make. That's when you're really discovering stuff. So don't be afraid to jump out there and make a few mistakes. Because that's when real invention happens. It's so true of so many parts of our lives, right? We figured it out because we tried a different way. And it worked. A lot of times it doesn't work, but a lot of times it does. So here comes my lighter blue. I'm just adding more white in there every time. So a little more white, a little more white. All the way down. Okay, don't forget in between the legs here, we have to put some color in there. Oh, got too dark. That's okay. Clean your brush. Clean your brush. Remember you cleaned it in between the blue and the green because that green will get everywhere, and if you don't want a green sky, you gotta clean your brush. All right, let's get up here in the top again. Get my little areas. So you can use your tiny brush for that. You don't have to use your flat. If you want your guy to have a little extra attitude here, you can just add a few little cuts inside of here. I'll do that for you so you can see what that looks like. I did not do that with the example, but that doesn't mean I'm gonna make this a little more painterly this time. So just a little make some clouds behind him. Okay, so what you can do is cut it a little bit. And when I say cut it, I mean, since this is a lighter color, I can give him some nice little spiky bits right here. See how I made it just a little bit more spiky? So feel free if you like that. If you don't, that's okay. I'm not all into that, but hey, it's got a little bit more attitude. So more white as you go over. Notice I'm using my flat brush. When you get into this area over here, it's a really good time to use your flat brush. Turned sideways like this, you turn into just kind of a paint, like a house paint brush. Soft strokes, crisscrossing. I'm basically mixing the paint on the canvas. So that's what I'm doing when I'm just kind of fluffing it around like that. So if you like it like a smooth color, just mix it right on there. It's such a tactile thing to do. It's almost like playing with clay, right? All right, we are going to pretend this rooster had all of his little plumes plucked out of him, okay? And we're just going to go right over that. And the reason why we're doing this is because going around all those little pieces for that tail feather would be so difficult. When I was doing murals, I learned really quickly, do it the easiest way, because you will be there forever if you don't figure out an easier way and a quicker way to run through it. So, this poor guy's had all of his tail feathers plucked out. Not for long, though. Not for long. There we go. Around the corner. Cut, 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 cut. Light color inside of here. Even if you go over a little bit of this and you accidentally hit something, don't worry about it, let it dry, and then fix it. Fixing it while it's wet is kind of hard. So go ahead and just be patient, let it dry. Taking your moment here. I threw some down there. Okay, back and forth, back and forth. There we go. Okay. Same flat brush. Now we're going to get inside of here into these green areas of our rooster here. So I am going to grab some of my yellow from my other kit because I like a little yellow in mine too, up near the front. So he gets a little yellow right up here. So a little bit of yellow right there. And then clean your brush off. We're going to do some green, blue, white. Okay, and this will be your lightest color. Oh, too dark. So a little green, blue, white right here. Until you can see it. There you go. Now I can see it coming in. So here comes my nice feathers in the front. As I get toward under the wing right here, I stop. And I'm only doing it right there. Now I'm grabbing blue, almost complete cerulean blue. And those are my darker feathers on this side. Okay, when I get down here, I don't do anything. Okay, when I'm underneath, right, this wing right here, I don't want to do anything. I want it to be the darkest it can be. Okay, I'll add a few in down here. There we go. Okay, same thing on this part of the wing. A little blue here. Okay, a little bit of blue there. I'm using flat brush. You can use small brush. You can use any combination of both. Now it's going to get lighter and greener as it comes forward. A little bit too light. Lighter and greener as it comes forward. There we go. Okay, we're still giving this some time to dry up here. I want this completely dry up here. So let's head down to our grass area. Our grass area down here. Lift it up a little bit so you can see this. All right, and again, no real rhyme or reason with this. I'm just coming around the edge. I'm trying to show a lot of the feet here. So again, I'm using my flat brush, but you can use any brush that feels comfortable. But I like the lines that a flat brush gives you. So there we go. Just adding in a few greens. I'm using a little bit more water on the brush, just so it kind of gives me a layered look to it. So I want that little bit of layer in there. So adding in. You can add a little bit of the dark green and a little bit of the light green. I like a little bit more dark green closer to the feet, just because I want it to have some weight, like he has a shadow underneath him. Okay, if you're covering up your gray from your talons, don't worry too much about that. We're going to come right back to that, okay? Going back to my light green. You can cross where the feet are. The feet can be hidden if you don't like how they look in the hay or the grass down here, or they can come out really strong. It's your painting. Okay, so nice grassy bits every which way. I like my darks right there, but I'd like a few more darks around the feet. I even let a little bit of the white shine through down here because I wanted it to look a little bit more scratchy on the bottom, on the base of it. Okay, let's head into our gigantic plumes over here. All right, a flat brush is very helpful with this. I'm going to show you both ways so that you can do a flat brush or you can do your other brush. Okay, so starting off, the big one with your flat brush. Get some green, put a lot of water on it, okay? Give yourself a point for where you want it to come up, okay? Now, if you just start drawing, you might not get it as perky as you want it to be. So let's try to make it a little perky this time, okay? So I'm going to go all the way up here. Boom. That's where I want it to start. And I'll let it go from here. This is going to be my really attitude one here. So I'm going to start with my brush sideways, and then when I come down, I'm going to straighten it so that it's horizontal. So start vertical, a little bit of pressure, and down. Okay, look how crunchy that is, right? But now it's got a flow to it, and I can just fill it in. And I'm going straight green here, y'all. Straight green. Okay, so here's my green right here. It's going to take me a couple layers to get this right. And from right here, I'm just going to side brush it and let it gently go this way. Well, there we go. Now that's an attitude tail feather. I'm not worried at first about cleaning it up. I'm going to wait a minute before I start cleaning things up. Second tail feather, right about here. And I'll start right here. So, kaboom, there it is. And then I'm going to let it kind of drop over, drop over. I'm getting the form right now. This is where they're going to be. I'm not cleaning up yet. I'm figuring out where my tail feathers are coming out. I'm going to have one from behind here come out. Once again, guys, no right or wrong. One from right here, okay? And then I'm going to let it cross right there. And I'm going to let another one go right there. So can you see my reasoning why I didn't start cleaning it up right away? Because they're going to bang into each other, okay? They're going to cross each other, and I want to see the whole thing before I start cleaning it up and deciding which tail feathers get what. So when I get down here, adding a little bit more water onto my brush, leaning it on the side. These are some of my tail feathers down here So I'm going to go ahead and figure out, see how I left that middle part undone? I'm going to figure that out when I get to it. Here, aren't we doing that a lot right now? I'll figure it out when I get there. I'll tackle that next week. I'll delay that just a little bit until it makes sense. That's art imitating life right now. Or life imitating art, depends on your point of view. So here we go, more little tail feathers, as many tail feathers as you'd like. Try to leave a little blue in there. There, I think that's very jaunty. Yeah, I like that a lot. Kind of wish I would have leaned it more this way. So now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to lean it more. Okay, so now we're filling in our tail feathers. So it's going to take a few passes over this to make the tail feathers solid. As you're doing it, you're adding chink, 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 chink. Now I'm adding the extra little bits in there. These are the sides of the feathers. You don't have to do it much, but we do want to feel like the tail feathers had some fronds, I guess, a little weight to them. Okay. Over here, I'm going to add some deep color, but right now I'm putting wet on wet color. So I'm going to have to let it dry up a bit. I'm going to go work on something else while that's drying up, because I can't add deeper color until it's a little chink, chink, chink set to the side. When you're doing it with a small brush, you just add it like this, just little bits hanging up to the side. There we go. All right, let's head back up to the body here. So we're going to add some lights and darks while we're waiting for our tail feathers to dry up here. So I'm going to take a little bit of the umber with a little bit of ochre in it. This is small brush time. We are in the finishing phase of this, okay? So I'm going to line this right up here. Okay. I feel like my orange isn't orange enough. It looks too much like my neck there. So I'm going to add a little red to my orange. And that's going to give me a deeper color to come around this with, so that my yellow really pokes out there. Oh, it moved on me. There we go. So I got that going on for me. I'm going to add a little light in my eye. Oh, he has a soul. Okay. Let's see. I want a few more yellow tips on him. And this is nice and dry now. So I'm going to add my whiter yellow highlights here. Boom. See why I waited for that highlight? So that I could get it, it can go into the blue without looking too much like it was painted around. There we go. Some nice little bits. He's a little scruffy. My rooster is a little scruffy here. So I'm going to add some more nice lighter highlights here. I'm all small brush now. You can really make the highlights stand out now. Kind of didn't like that, so I'm going to cover it up. White and yellow, super highlights while we're waiting for everything to dry. I'm actually going to go some almost straight up white over here to make it really come out. And I noticed around my eye, I couldn't see that as well, so I'm going to just kind of get inside of there. There we go. Oh, now he has some attitude. I like that. I like a little attitude in my bird. Okay, and I'll go over here and give him a few more up here, like he's kind of glistening a bit. Okay, be careful with your water. If you've got that green in the water, you got to make sure your brush is nice and clean for these nice little highlighty bits. I'm taking some white right up here, highlight there, highlight there, highlight there, highlight there. Just white. And I'm also going to put a little white in the center here. So it looks like that had some depth to it. I'm going to take an orangish white, which makes kind of a tangerine color. And I'm going to line out right here. So one triangle, I'm letting the gray show on either side. Oh, that was a good trick, right? So I did it all in gray, and then I put 2 lines inside of it for the beak. Don't obsess on the beak. The beak is only a tiny part of this. And honestly, you won't see it as much. So don't put too much effort into your beak. It'll just make the eye go that way instead of where you want it to go, which is to the whole picture. And I only say this because I obsessed on the beak on the first one. And I think that was a little bit of a mistake. So you learn something every time. White and yellow highlights. Right here, like the sun is coming straight this way. Boom. And now, white and gray. So I'm going to take a tiny bit of my gray. I didn't need much gray for this project. Gray and white here, mostly white. And I'm going to give him some nice highlights on top of his talons over here. So they're like shiny talons. So I'm letting the gray show through, but I'm putting some highlights in there, especially on this one. So I want that almost sheer white on that little talon he fights with. Okay, is this dry yet? Let's take a look on the side. That's looking pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and use my go-to brush, so my medium round, and I'm filling in this area. Oh, what a difference waiting for it to dry makes, right? When you wait for it to dry, everything is easier. It's not fighting the paint. You're going with it. So there we go. Now I can really fill it in. And that phthalo can be a really sticky color. So you want to definitely give it some time to dry in there so that you can add the deeper color, add the second layer onto it to make it deeper. Boom, so pretty. Even over here where you're seeing like these dark areas, you can add a little bit more dark just to make it super dark, right? Oh, we're almost done, peoples. We are almost done. You should be congratulating yourself because you hung with it and you got it done, and this is going to look great in your kitchen. You need a little frame for it. Here we go. Let's get this back one. I want it as dark as I can make it. So even letting it dry, I won't do it on the video, but even letting it dry and coming back to it and putting another layer of dark in there would be even nicer. Because roosters are nice, rich birds, and when you see that iridescent green on them, it's so pretty, right? All right. And here we go. Once this is dry, okay? So let this dry up. If you're going to do your third layer, do your third layer. Don't be in a hurry. Don't be in a hurry. That doesn't make good art. Can't do it fast, you know? Can't do it fast. Art is like that. So I'm making a light blue here. And with my small brush, I can lean it on the side to get a better line because my brush is not great here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line down the middle. Oh boy, this is hard. Not really, I'm just kidding. You can even go more blue colors. And then you're going to throw some lines out the side. Chink, chink, chink. Now don't do it for every feather, but do it for some of them. So you get these nice little lines going on. Chink, chink, chink. Yeah, because my brush makes a noise. It goes chink, chink, chink. I like to talk to myself when I'm painting. You can even do this with your flat brush too. So get some nice lines going on in there, and these can kind of just get kind of fluffy here. Okay. So just a heads up, because we're pretty much there with our bird here. He looks great. You're looking good now, I bet you are. Some extra things that you can do, okay, to make this even better is to come through and do a second layer of blue on this after you've got everything in to make the color more solid, more coming out. Remember that third layer of green through there would make it even more like, wow, that looks good, okay? So, thanks for painting with me today. I hope you're impressed with your rooster, and I'm really proud of you for giving it a shot. I know sometimes it can be intimidating when you see the finished piece of work, but remember, we do everything a little bit at a time, and life is like that. Take one bite and get that done for today, and then the next day, get the next thing done. Don't try to see everything at once. And painting art is a really good example of a really good way to live your life. Stop trying to see a year from now, 10 years from now. Just see today. You only have the strength for today. So enjoy your day and enjoy your painting. Thank you for painting with me. Bye from St. Croix.